Well, good evening, all. Let's call this meeting to order at 5:34 this fine Tuesday evening, and we'll start with a roll call to ascertain a quorum. Miss Dottie, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Chair Patrick Molina,
Here.
Vice Chair Anderson. Do you
Do you
hear?
hear?
Yes.
Here.
I'll have to fix it on my end.
No, Secretary McKinney, that is something with Heather's speaker. So whenever she unmutes, you're going to hear that little bit of echo, but she has to unmute to talk. But when she's talking, it's fine. It's just when the rest of us are talking.
Okay.
It's not you.
Member Bill Brown. Bill, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah,
Can hear you, but I read his
unmute isn't
lips
working.
saying, "Can you hear me?" And we cannot hear him.
Can't hear you.
And Dottie McKinney here.
So, Member Brown, if you want to try, I don't know if you want to try leaving and checking your settings and coming back, or he said 1 minute.
Is that better?
Hey, there you are.
Sorry, I'm here.
Outstanding. We have ascertained a quorum. I would like to open up the floor for public comment regarding anything on this evening's agenda. So the floor is open. If you'd like to make a public comment, please raise your virtual hand and we'll bring you into the panel. All right, I'm not seeing anybody in the attendee gallery raising their hand, so I'm going to make the assumption that no one needs to make a public comment regarding anything on the agenda at this time. So we'll move on to item number 3, which is the approval of the current agenda. I would like to move to approve the agenda for this evening's meeting, December 9th, 2025. A second, please.
I'll second.
All right. Very good. Any concerns about this evening's agenda? There is no closed session this evening, so that's not a bad thing. But otherwise, as you all know, we have to have this posted at least 72 hours before meeting time, so there is really no changes we can make to the agenda.
Well, excuse
All
me,
right.
Chair Molina. I think there
Yes.
may be a change because we got notice, I think just yesterday, that Miss Murphy had a family emergency. And so much
Well,
to your chagrin and disappointment, I know, I do not think, but Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, that there'll be a learning celebration tonight, but otherwise, no changes.
okay. Yeah, and we're not going to take that off the agenda. We'll just skip over that part. Well, that's sad. I hope all turns out well for Miss Murphy and her family. Unfortunately. Well, very good. Then, Ms. Dottie, would you please conduct a roll call vote to approve the meeting agenda for this evening's meeting, December 9th, 2025?
Yes, sir. Chair Patrick Molina. Vice Chair Heather Anderson.
Aye.
Member Bill.
Aye.
And Dottie McKinney. Aye.
Did we get Heather?
Yes, I did, Heather.
Okay.
Mhm.
Excellent.
One point, we did skip over Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know if that's.
Oh, you're right. That's my bust. Sorry. My screen was
Sorry.
funny, so yeah, that's mine. We'll do that real quick. Miss.
Oh, you want to do it? Okay. I was
Yeah,
very
please.
I have to tell you, I was very disappointed because I had my flag open and my share ready to go. But I just took it off the minutes. But here,
So
you want to do your
the screen resolution,
Sorry.
the screen resolution on the screen is funky, and it was anyway. That was my fault because I didn't see it. But yes, let's absolutely recite the Pledge of Allegiance. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. So yeah, I got to get this scrolling bit squared away on this computer. Okay. All right, we are on to item number 4, which is the approval of our meeting minutes from our previous meeting, November 11th, 2025. I move to approve the meeting minutes from November 11th, 2025. A second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion with regards to the minutes? Any corrections or changes that anybody noted? I didn't see any, but I just one set eyes. No? Well, then, Ms. Dottie, would you please conduct a roll call vote to approve our meeting minutes from the November 11th, 2025 regular meeting?
Yes, sir. Patrick Molina,
Aye.
Heather Anderson,
Aye.
Bill Brown,
Aye.
and Dottie McKinney, aye.
Very good. Thank you. We go right into section number 5, which is our school finances. Let's elevate Miss Justine Vigil to the panel.
On her way. Said she was on her way. Let's try again. There we go.
Aha.
Hi, Justine. Oh, she muted herself.
Here we go. Well,
Hello.
hello there. Hello, hello. Miss Justine, you have the floor.
All right. Let me share my screen. All right, so the reports that we have this evening are for July 1st through November 30th, starting with the revenue report. Looking at the actual column, these are the actual revenues we have received in the bank account as of November 30th. No really new RFRs. I've done the monthly RFRs and those are coming in. I would say PD reimburses every 2 to 3 weeks, so we're getting those in. But as far as any big revenues or kind of a one-time thing, there's nothing really new. One of the revenues that we're waiting on is the lease reimbursement. We still have not received that award letter. I think the PSCOC was doing their meeting or their board meeting to approve those award letters. I think it's next week. So you should probably be receiving that award letter, I would say mid-January. And so once you receive that award letter, you can budget that award and then start drawing down those funds with the reimbursement. So that's really the only thing that we're waiting on. As far as expenditures, as of November 30th, the operational balance is 2.5 million. I know I've mentioned this a couple of times that there's a few moving parts with the 40-day count, and now that the audit is wrapping up, we should be putting those cash carryovers into OBMS. And once PED approves those carryovers, it'll be generated into a bar. And so you'll see that budget cut as well for the overestimation of the cash carryover. So the budget, I would say the final budget, you won't really see that until I would say February, just depending on when PED approves those bars. And then again, once they send an award letter for the 40-day count, we can't just put our estimation into the budget. Everything has to come from PED as far as a letter or memo. Going down on the other funds, like I mentioned before, the food services fund, I think there'll be an increase to the budget due to an underestimation of the cash carryover. So I think that will be increased. So I don't think there's a worry there. Title I's just slightly negative due to some employee benefits, and hopefully that'll be cleaned up before the end of the year with the reclassification of that expense to the operational fund. But all other funds I think are looking pretty good. And then here we've put in the lease and what we estimate the lease assistance award of 1.4 million. So if it comes in high or low, just depending, but I think we're pretty close on that estimation there. And then HB 33, there should be a budget increase for the underestimation of the cash carryover. So again, once that bar is approved, it'll get input into the system and hopefully that'll push it to zero. So you'll have an available balance of zero, won't show an over budget there. Any questions on the revenues and expenditures?
No,
Going on to the issued purchase orders report, these are the current open POs. All right, going on to the purchasing total. So what this report is showing is not checks that we've cut to these vendors already. It's really the open purchase orders in total to these vendors. So I've kind of highlighted a few that are going to reach that 60,000 threshold. Once you reach that 60,000 threshold, you will have to go to RFP. So looking at Amazon, we probably need to look at the purchase orders that are open to this vendor, and maybe we've overestimated on some of the purchase orders. You may think that an item it costs more than what it really is. So I would suggest going through the Amazon open purchase orders and reducing those. Once you reach that 60,000 limit with Amazon, unless it's a CES vendor, you'll have to stop using that vendor. And then Sunbelt Staffing, again, if that one is a CES or ACES vendor, you can continue using it beyond the $60,000 threshold. If it is not, you will have to go to RFP or stop using that vendor.
May I comment?
Sure.
I just wanted to let the board know that on the Amazon one, and you too, Justine, but on the Amazon one, they are breaking down the PO to the different categories. So technology versus uh, technology and software versus supplies and materials versus facilities repairs. And so there will be nothing exceeding the 60,000 in any particular like type. So I think we'll be fine. I did question about that recently. And then the one for Sunbelt Staffing, there is an item on the agenda tonight regarding an RFP we put out for those special ed services. So that contract will be ending, assuming that the RFP award is awarded tonight.
yes,
Just,
Ms. Dottie.
yes, if I may also, um, Cooperative Educational Services has an Amazon account as well. They went out to RFP and they have awarded them an open-end contract. So you might have your purchasing folks look into that, especially in light of reaching the $60,000 threshold. But there is a cooperative agreement in place which would relieve the need for you to go out to RFP.
Great. That's good
Patty,
to
is
know.
that new?
Yes, it is new. They awarded it.
Oh, I was going to say, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And it's a direct, you just go to their portal and it's business as usual, except it's a CES contract.
That's
And I
awesome.
would
Thank you so much.
probably advise we list the CES contract number on the PO just to be safe.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Good idea.
and on any invoices if we can.
Yeah,
I think they'll do that.
it's done with a purchase order and excuse me, and the normal procedure with CES where they get the 1.25% of
But it doesn't cost the school anymore though, correct?
no, not at
Yeah.
all. You'll probably get better prices. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you.
All right, going on to the bank account register activity report. This is just for the month of November, showing what revenues the school received and as well as the expenses going out. So if there's any questions on any of these, please let me know. So there was 1.8 million in revenues and then 1.9 million in expenses. So every month I do a cash analysis to kind of see what we can pay to make sure we're not putting our bank account in the negative. So um, seeing that there, it's just really when the revenues and expenses go out, but I always make sure that we pay payroll and the liabilities first, and then the rent as well, and then we can go on to pay vendors. So, yes, revenue expenses are exceeding revenues, but on a cash basis, I'm making sure that, you know, we print checks right after the SCG. The SCG comes around the 10th of each month, which we actually got it a day early this month. And then I print those vendor checks right after that and making sure that payroll is covered. And then the bank reconciliation as of November 30th, there was an ending balance in the bank of 307,000. There were still outstanding checks of 3,300, which brings the true balance to 304,000. You can see on the next couple of pages that it does reconcile to the balance sheet. Do you have any questions?
I thought I heard somebody, but I don't think so.
I'm sorry, I was going to ask a question. I'm sorry.
Please.
Just in terms of what you had just shared relevant to the expenses. Sorry, that threw me off. I apologize. But what you were just saying relevant to what we have spent versus what we have brought in and the financial forecast, I will let the board know that Justine sends me that every time, and she sort of estimates here's about what you can spend on the invoices. I will say that that number, of course, never matches the invoices that we have pending, and so we are trying to make priorities to the invoices that we're paying based on where we feel we best need to prioritize that. But ultimately, it means that every month there are some vendors that are being left behind when it comes to paying those. And so I reached out to Justine today to ask about extra revenue that might come in January to see if that could help. Because at the end of the day, there is this cash flow imbalance that we're not bringing in enough to spend to have the money in the bank to pay the invoices that are pending for us. And so I'm happy when we do our next finance committee meeting to get it maybe more into the rough on that one and share out what that looks like every time that we're doing that. But it is certainly not an easy task, and it's a terrible challenge to have to face of who are we paying this month? Because of course everybody deserves to be paid on time and the full amount of the services or the purchases that we've made from them, and we're struggling to be able to keep up with that. And so we continue to look for ways in which we can better the cash flow situation.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
I would say though, Jake did ask me about like the HB 33 and SB 9. We do receive a bigger distribution. We receive that distribution every month, but it's bigger. I looked at last year. I saw one come in around the 20th of December. It was around 700,000. So I think that'll help with paying more vendors, hopefully before the end of calendar year 25, if possible. So I'd keep a lookout for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I will also add, if that's okay, in addition to that conversation, I know we had talked about what was brought up was the lease reimbursement. I think that meeting actually happens this week because I believe that Commissioner Ingham was with us at the meeting we had last week, and he plans to raise it and said it was in conflict with the PCSNM conference, which is tomorrow through Friday. But there is some voice in there about the fact that charters are being under reimbursed for their lease, that they're not being reimbursed at the rate they are supposed to according to statute. And there are some voices in the crowd trying to get them to see that we are being under reimbursed and see what we can do to get the sort of reimbursement we need. There is sort of a twofold approach to it. The first one is the pie in the sky one, which is, and can we go back and reimburse past money that hadn't been given to the schools? I don't know how much of a starter that'll be in the conversation, but it might be a huge ask that then could be pared down to, can we at least take care of this year and moving forward and see if we could bring that up to what it should be. I think he said something to the effect of the reimbursement rate's about 20%. It should be closer to 40%. according to statute. And so if we could get that, would mean a big difference for us. And we are also this week, I believe, discussing with the LFC the House Bill 63 hold harmless funds. That meeting, I believe, they're also having this week, and we have proponents to try to get House Bill 63 hold harmless funds back to schools, hopefully during this fiscal year, so that we can see an immediate impact on our budget this year to help recuperate some of that lost revenue.
All right, thank you. Any questions, fellow board members, with regards to the reports we've seen? All right, then I will make a motion to approve all of the financial reports as presented for the fiscal year month ending November 30th, 2025. A second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Any further discussion, folks, before we go to a vote? Very good. Ms. Study, would you please conduct a roll call vote to approve our financial reports as presented for the fiscal year ending the month of November 30th, 2025?
Yes, sir. Patrick Molina. Heather Andrews.
Aye.
Bill Brown.
Aye.
And Dottie McKinney, aye.
Very good. Thank you very much. The next item is the Finance Committee report, which I will turn it over to Bill to give everybody a quick update on our most recent Finance Committee meeting.
Sorry, that was the ideal time for that. I don't know how much we will be reporting. And Jake, I think you're gonna, because I don't know that I want to steal your fire in regards to the other discussion item that you wanted to have in regards to the RIF and whatnot. But the board or the finance committee met on Friday of last week. We discussed an ongoing RIF that is occurring to try to correct some expenditures, or at least adjust expenditures. So Mr. Colander presented all of that for us just as a discussion item on what he is in the process of handling. I believe, if I am correct, Mr. Colander, you've already completed all of that by today. And so that was the primary portion of our discussion, was that. We also were introduced to Hannah Forsling. She joined us during that committee meeting and is now a member of the committee. And so we will, I guess that's the other discussion item there for the next item. And so Hannah noted that she's doing some recoding, trying to go back over the last couple of years to make sure that things are coded appropriately in the financial system, get everything updated and processed properly. And so that's pretty much just a project unto itself. I'm uncertain as to how long Hannah's been with the school, but over the last few weeks, she has been working on getting that handled. And so that's been her process, and that was her report to the Finance Committee. Unless Mr. Colander or Mr. Molina, if you had anything else you wanted to add, or
Nope, not for me. That's a nice synopsis of our meeting. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll share the RIF progress a little bit more in my report out. So
Yeah.
sure.
Yep.
And I think at this point, we don't have any budget adjustment requests, right, Justine? So it was just the financial report. So we're done. So I can let Justine go back to her life this evening.
Yes, and thank
okay,
you so much, Justine. Thank you for helping us through this transition. Outstanding. Thank you very much.
Um,
And I also see that Dottie has her hand raised. So just wanted to bring that out.
I apologize. I forgot to put it down, but
Okay.
I am putting the CES Amazon contract number in the chat. So you guys,
Yeah.
the blue book
Yay.
and
Yeah.
and access it's in the blue book. There's a box that says vendor portal that you would click and then process your purchase orders. So I think that will eliminate the need moving forward for you all to have to worry about
Amazon, yeah.
solicitation. Because I'll tell you, it took CES almost 6 months to get the contract negotiated. So it's an arduous task contracting with Amazon. And so anyway, the information is there's the contract number for you, and I'll lower my hand.
Thank you, Dottie. And just so the board knows, I did already send that information to Brittany and Hannah via our chat about what Dottie has shared. And I went and looked at the blue book too. So I sent a screenshot to them. So followed up with that. But appreciate that I said that Dottie just shared this with us. So asking them to follow up. So thank you for that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And then I guess the next thing is Hannah is here in the audience, but do you want me to go on to the next item, or were you still working on finance committee?
Well, we need to officially designate Hannah Forrest Lang as our school business official.
Yes. So if you met her last week, she is here in the audience, but I also know that she's at a family, her daughter's Christmas event, performance. So if you don't need her she's available to come to the panel, but if you don't need her, I think you've met her last time. Jake has already started working with her, but in order for me to submit the paperwork and make her your official school business official, the board does need to designate her as such. So that is the request.
I move to approve Hannah Forrest Lang as our designated school business official. A second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Any discussion, fellow board members? Very good. Miss Dottie, would you please conduct a roll call vote to approve Miss Hannah Forrest Lang as our designated school business official?
Yes, sir. Chair Patrick Molina.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heather Anderson.
Aye.
Bill Brown.
Aye.
And Dottie McKinney. Aye.
All right. And I agree. I don't think we need to bring Hannah on for anything. We had a wonderful finance committee meeting. I think going forward, she'll be great in helping us get this ship righted from a financial standpoint. So very, very impressed so far with all of that. Because it was a great meeting, by the way, for those of you who don't get to come to the finance committee meeting. It was really, we did a great deal of work in 1 hour. So well done. Probably because the chair of the finance committee kept it just on mark, man. It was awesome. So. All right, and there are no budget adjustment requests this evening, so I believe we are finished with item number 5, ladies and gentlemen. Item number 6, we're going to have to reluctantly pass over because our guest speaker is not available this evening. Very sad, very sad. But we look forward to perhaps a learning celebration next month, which will be dynamite. Which now brings us to item number 7, which is Mr. Jacob Colander. Jake, you've got the floor.
Thank you, Chair Molina. I appreciate it, and thank you all for the time this evening. So the first item is my least favorite, obviously, to speak about. So it's the first one, so we can band-aid that and get it out of the way. But going through the process, we really tried to use, I think, the appropriate idiomatic phrase is something to the effect of using a scalpel instead of an axe. And it was, how do we find small savings by combining some job descriptions or shifting some people around that take on duties and responsibilities that let us reduce our overall cost. From what we anticipated, it looked like the projection saved us about $220,000. If we include those calculated into benefits and things, about $300,000, I think, is a good estimate of where that process ended in terms of saving us in the long term. I will say that not everyone on the list has been spoken to specifically because in the meeting I had this last week with our new business manager, with Hannah and with her team, they said, wait before you have any more conversations because they would like one last chance to go through the 910P5 and the projections, make sure everything's coded correctly. They said before we touch FTEs, let's make sure we know what we need to do and how. So we have had some conversations so far. None of them have affected FTEs. It's all been a shift in either a job responsibility or a duty. We had one staff member that position was eliminated, but others that were sort of hanging on until they've spoken to us because they said they want a champion's effort to be able to go through everything line by line and come back and say this is where it comes from. And it was in one of two ways. It was either it could be that there is more that we need to cut, in which case a reduction to an FTE may not be a reduction. They said, or actually it could be that we're better off than we thought we were, and there are some FTEs we don't need to touch as a result. And they would rather know that before I've had tough conversations with people in that sense. And so I think overall they're wanting to hold off. I did set up, and I don't know why, there's some things that you do, and once you do them, it's so intuitive, you wonder why you hadn't done them in the past. I now have weekly meetings with our director of operations, Alicia Bayardo, and our first one was this last Friday. We meet every Friday at 10 o'clock because it allows us to coordinate some of these things where it impacts administrative people, it impacts our director's team. There's all kinds of things where her role and my role have some overlap, and then some things that are distinct about them. I went back to, square one is always read the job descriptions. Where is the overlap and where is it? And in reading our own, I found some things where I said, well, here's where we should be collaborating on. Then here are things that are kind of in your sphere and then kind of in my sphere in this place. And she was, of course, happy to do so. And I think look forward to continuing to those. I think that'll be very productive in terms of how we coordinate the work at the school. In terms of the professional development plan for semester 2, what I wanted to share very quickly is that our school has I have a Fridays only calendar that we are doing. I will share screens real quick so that the board can see what I'm referring to, because this is something that I work with our instructional coaches and administrative team on to be able to do these things. I'm hoping I'm sharing the right tab. Am I sharing the right tab? You're all seeing this little Fridays only calendar chart, is that correct? Okay.
Yes, Jake.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. On the right, so part of the OKR process, this iteration thing of how we look at key results, is stepping back from the work we do once in a while to say, how do we make sure that we're aligning our efforts? So I met with our director of curriculum and instruction for the K-5, Lucy King, the instructional coach, Lori Adams, and the principal, Jennifer Vargas. The four of us met. And I said, so if we know we have this key result, academics on math and English, we have these screeners that we've put in place. Many of those items have been taken care of and are flowing. I said, now it's time to actually form a semester-long plan where we're going to say sometime mid-January, we're going to do our SDQ, stands for San Diego Quick, our math screener, our data collaboration meeting with our grade level teams in January, which means, hence, we should have professional development for all of our staff on either the 6th, which is a term break day, or the 9th, which is an in-service day. That is a direct product of those data collaboration meetings. So now that we've done the screeners, we've met together as teams, we've identified the gaps, it's now on our director of instruction and our instructional coach to design PD to say, now that we know, what do we do about it? And provide the professional development to make that happen. We then have this lengthy period of time between essentially mid-February into April, where this is observation period, individual trainings with staff, peers getting into one another's classrooms, support around this. Are you implementing the training that we're seeing? To what degree do you need some support to do it? Who's doing a bang-up job with that? And how can we get teachers in there to just see one another's ideas? That will lead us to, in about mid-April, a new round of screeners, a new round of collaborative meetings. I pronounced that, I just enunciated that collaborative. I apologize. Collaborative. And our professional development based on said data collaboration. So that by the time we're in May, we're really talking transition, reflection, vertical alignment, et cetera. And all of this sort of aligns with what we're looking to achieve in our OKRs, which is total understanding of where our kids are at, and then adequate professional development training for the staff for any areas that they feel like they could use some better support in. I did want to share that with the board because I think it's a good insight into how we're looking to continue to take the OKR process and expand it into making sure it's influencing our professional development practices, the purpose of our data collaboration meetings. And I will be meeting with the Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Valerie Mays, tomorrow And she and I will be doing essentially the same process, looking at that for the mid-high for the spring semester, which takes us to a very fascinating objective and key result that I would wanted to share with the board. So I was able to get in contact. I just happened to take advantage of being in a meeting with the PED to say, can I meet with someone to talk about our teacher evaluation system? She came to our campus. Her name, I'm going to mispronounce it. I apologize. I believe it's Birgit, Birgit, I think is how it's pronounced. I keep saying Bridget, but that's not how it's spelled.
It is Bridget or Brigitte. Which one? Maura or Russell?
Mauer. Is it
Brigitte.
Brigitte? Brigitte. Okay. All right. I was completely mispronouncing that, and but she came to our school, our elementary school, and met with me. Very kind person, and I had done up a presentation that I shared with her, a little PowerPoint of how our school is implementing objectives and key results, and some spaces in the Canvas teacher evaluation system where I feel like there is disconnect between charter schools goals, school initiatives, teacher reflections, professional development plans, specifically domain 4B, which is the sort of how you participate in professional learning community, and showed her this is what the current system looks like from an administrative perspective. Here's how objectives and key results are helping us to align all these things as a school. And she was absolutely delighted with the progress we've made and asked if I would share that presentation so she could share it with her leadership team, the people that are above her up at the PED. So I have volunteered our school, if at any point they would like us to come in and present how we're doing this and how we've executed it at the campus level. I said we'd be happy to step in. So if at any point I call in a member of the board and say, hey, would you join me and do a little meeting with PED leadership? They are looking at revamping some of the teacher evaluation processes for next school year. And it just so happened to be simpatico that our foot got in the door as the name of a school where, in looking at it, Brigitte said, this is amazing. This is what we want schools to be doing. I want to see more of this. So she asked for the presentation and she'll be sharing it with her team. So I was very excited for that. Staffing update, we have, of course, as you know, as a result of the RIF process, we've been sort of pausing on staffing except for some immediate things that are needed for us. But overall, I think staffing wise, our campus is very solid. We have the people that we need there. We're making, like I said, some shifts in the RIF process, but our staffing, teachers were not obviously impacted. EA's not impacted. It was great to see that our team is flowing now. Finally, information session reports. I did want to share with the board that we reevaluated the informational sessions that we do at our K-5. There was a presentation we had done. Our first info session was Monday night, 5:30 p.m., and we had 11 families turn out, which is cool that we had 11 families turn out, a little underwhelming. Part of the problem comes from the fact that because of where we have seen budget concerns show up, Katia Pride, our director of outreach, had asked what is her budget for marketing and advertising. We're in the heat of application season. Our lottery is March 16th. And at this point, I said, I don't know where our numbers sit. I don't know how to say, because advertising has to come out of operational, and our operational is where we need to find cuts. So on the one hand, I don't want to hamstring the very thing that could pull us out of budgetary issues by not having money approved for advertising and marketing during application season for our school. On the other hand, we don't have money in the operational. So I may rely on the finance committee to help me think through that a little bit, because Katia's chomping at the bit. She goes, if you could just, sorry, just to interrupt real quick. Karen, if you don't mind, Danielle just signaled her that she'll be up here relatively shortly. She's asking if she can get the link. Again, because something's going on with the one that she's trying to click on. But to share
Thank you. I will.
Sure. Anyway, in terms of, so I don't know what to tell her. Like, we don't have money per se, but she needs money. And if we don't put some funds behind it, advertising is hamstringed. That means applicants may not turn out. We may not have people showing up to the info sessions like we could otherwise. Our next one is Thursday night at the mid-high. That'll give me a better gauge of turnout, because that is typically, in the past, we've had packed house for those informational sessions, and we've had some that have 5 families in there. At this point of the year, I would hope to see it packed house and see it dwindle over the course of next semester, is the pattern I had seen. I guess I come to you guys with thinking through it. I don't know, finance, when we have our finance committee next time or something, we need to think through how do we properly fund some degree of marketing campaign to help get some butts and seats, for lack of a better term, for our info sessions, with knowing that we're struggling right now in operational funds. There you go. Lots of good stuff. Any questions for me? Things I can something I missed out on that you guys would like to have an update on that I can share, or questions about any of my items?
I'm not sure if the uh, building committee has anything to report later on, but what's the latest and greatest on the gym?
Oh man. Okay, here we go. Gym drama part 1.
Oh, good.
Construction efforts are well underway, which includes vibrating the walls of the connected classrooms for teachers who are saying, listen to all this construction noise. One, however, has been in her classroom since before the gym started and said at this point to her, without the construction noise, it seems like an empty day. So she has it back again and feels like it is back to same old in her room. It also triggered our fire alarm system because the fire alarm that is in the gym is active and hooked up, and the construction team set it off Monday morning, dead in the middle of parent drop off. So I had the execution of the plan worked well in the sense that I received my Rave app notification. There's been a fire reported in the building. I called Anthony immediately. He said, I need to go see what's going on, but we're going to begin evacuating students. I was able to get a message out to parents. This just happened. I know you're in the drop off line, but we can't let families in. I understand traffic went back to Edith, and the details of that were delightfully shared with me in a phone call I received that same morning from one of our neighbors. But understandable frustration for it. It happened in the middle of drop off, but I think Anthony, as the principal, handled it extremely well. As far as I didn't get any other concerns from parents about that. I was communicating with the assistant principal, so parents got an update mid stride and then an all clear notice, and then a further communication in the evening that said, this is kind of what happened. So it is both causing some noise issues and some evacuation concerns, but boy, is it nice to see OSB board piled up at the top and hearing hammers hit concrete at this point.
Yeah, indeed. All right, wonderful. I think several of us were curious as to any updates. So wonderful. Any other questions with regards to section A of item A of section 7? If not, I think we can go right into the general updates and reminders section.
Yes, that would be me. Monthly update from the directors, just some things that we're working on. I always miss some big projects that happen or things come up later, but again, anytime, even if it's next meeting, if you see something on there you want to know more about, please let us know. We'll invite the appropriate folks to come talk to you. There's a whole team back here working, and I'm the only face that you get to see most of the time, but I'm happy to bring some of my colleagues to share if you're interested. The bus contract clerical change, I just wanted to share with the board. Lisa Hughes and I wanted to share with you that, as you recall, we approved the bus contract for new buses. And what happened was the fee that was entered by PED was the incorrect fee. So they wanted to raise the fee, which again, that would raise the award allocation. However, there was an older um, approval letter that was at the older price that matched the mistaken price. Bottom line is they used the older approval letter for the new buses, even though we're still waiting on those buses, and nothing's changed. So clerically, we just changed the approval letters to the ones that matched the amounts they put on the contract that you approved, which was lower. So no changes other than the approval letters are the older ones that we hadn't gotten buses for yet. So we still have new buses to come in the future, and we'll address that contract fee. But the problem was that to bring it wouldn't change the school's costs. It would come from the PED allocation. But the problem would have been that we would have to bring it back to you if it was a change in amount. And we wanted the buses to be able to be part of the count day. So we were able to Lisa did a lot of work with the PED staff and Herrera to get that straightened out so that no changes were made other than a clerical change. So Just wanted you to know that because that did happen. And thank you to Director Hughes for the work on that. Also on the school-owned vehicle, we did put out emails to all the charter school leaders twice now. Lisa and I were prepared to meet with anybody today to see the vehicle, but we didn't get any response. So I think our next, we were discussing that maybe our next effort, maybe we should have included, we were hoping that a charter school would take advantage of this vehicle because that would be nice to have another charter school have one. But since not, we was approved, as you know, I think you know, from the PED, and it's gone to the state auditor. We expect a letter within 2 weeks from the state auditor that it's all good to sell, but we don't have a buyer. So if we don't get a buyer through a state agency or school, we will have to do an ITV. So what we'd like to do is try one more attempt of reaching out to maybe the traditional school districts next because they have a bit of a better budget in some cases, and see if any of them are interested and do a negotiated sale with them. If not, then we did get approved to move to the ITB, which we'll do after the winter break if we don't get any nibbles on a school that would like to have it. Any questions about those two things for me?
Not from
Okay. If none, then I just wanted to also update you. We saw this last month, the preliminary annual report. They were supposed to give a correction and update it, but they didn't because once the data came out, they're going to wait and do all the final reports in January. So they'll add the academic data, make any corrections, and will plan to be at the January PEC meeting to make sure that really does indeed happen. And we'll of course share that with you once we receive it. And I think we kind of talked about governing board training requirements last time, but this is when I start putting it on there to keep it in your forefront to start working on it for those of you who haven't yet. That's it for me.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Karen before we boogaloo onto our business? Nope. All right. Application for we're on item number 8, by the way, Governing Council visits. Application for PEC Indicators of Success Support Program.
Good evening, Chair
And Chair
Molina.
Oh, I was just going to say, I
hello.
promoted Lisa, Director Hughes, because she did work on this application with Jake and was going to present for you.
Please.
Perfect. Good evening, Chair Molina and members of the board. We do have an application for the Indicators of Success Support Program application. I will share my screen so you can see that. It is something that Mr. Colander and myself have been working on, but it does say that each PEC authorized board can opt in to apply for up to $10,000 in funding. And what this was from the board's self-assessment. So for anything that was rated a low area of a 1 or a 2, they allow us to apply for extra funding. Don't know if we will get this funding, but it's something that we can apply for. And we are proposing to target one of the finance indicators at the school. It showed in a place where the indicator was that the school's debt to asset ratio is stable and at times cash flow is not sustainable. So in a way, we want to focus on how can we increase cash flow at the school. And so in working with Mr. Colander and other members of our director team, one of the areas that we thought of that could bring more cash flow is if we market more to students and to families, we could bring in more students, which would increase funding, which would increase cash flow. So it's a little bit of an interesting stretch to get there. But we would like to propose that we apply for this application for the full $10,000 to strengthen the school's long-term cash flow, specifically for marketing and recruitment efforts, because that school funding is tied to the state funding formula, the per pupil unit value. Increased enrollment would directly improve our financial stability. We are a spotlight school experiencing growth, and so we do have that opportunity to reach a broader audience and continue expanding our enrollment, but additional marketing resources would allow us to promote the school, say things through Isotopes game or targeted advertising or media features such as Google and YouTube that can highlight our truly successful student choice-based model. It would allow our director of marketing to work collaboratively with people to implement these strategies. For example, we would like to request the full $10,000 to support marketing for increased enrollment. In thinking about the breakdown of costs, to run 40 Google ads, the cost is about $200 per ad. So right there, you've got $8,000. To run 20 YouTube ads, it's $100 per ad, and that would be $2,000. Those two alone would be the $10,000. So if we could get a little bit of funding to increase our marketing in hopes that that would increase enrollment, which would lead to increased cash flow, that's what we're hoping to spin on this grant. Yes, we could have the work done before the end of June 30th, 2026. And we don't have any other questions at this time. And I know that Mr. Colander reviewed this, and he is prepared if they do come back with extra questions about it. He does have some responses already prepared for that. But at that, I'll stand for questions because it does say that each authorized board is opting in to apply. So that's why I wanted to present it to you all this evening.
I remember seeing an email from PEC-PED about inviting folks to apply for this. So I'm glad we're going after.
Yeah, and as a reminder for those who maybe are new to this, the Public Education Commission, your chartering authority, they do have decided, first of all, every charter school has 2% of their SEG taken to support the Public Education Commission and that department, Charter Schools Division. And so sometimes there's extra funds. So rather than having extra funds, they're using some of those funds for these kinds of projects to support schools that need something in a specific area. So that's a little history on what these are.
So Karen, does the board need to approve this application?
Yes, please,
Okay,
if so inclined.
wonderful. Well, then I move to approve the Indicators of Success Support Program application for fiscal year 2026. A second, please.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Heather. Awesome. Any questions, any further discussion on this? I mean, it looks pretty straightforward, cut and dry to me. And I think it's a great use of those funds because the PEC is very well aware of our financial challenges. So I think this will be a nice, even if they don't approve it, they'll at least know that we are working toward getting it squared away. So it's a nice demonstration of our commitment to doing what we said we would do. So any further questions or discussion? Very good. Ms. Dottie, would you please conduct a roll call vote to approve our Indicators of Success Support Program application for fiscal year 2026?
Yes, sir. Patrick Molina.
Aye.
Heather Anderson.
Aye.
Bill Grant.
Aye.
And Dottie McKinney. Aye.
Thank you, Chair Molina and members of the board. I will, with that vote, I will get this submitted to apply for this application and get that submitted and keep you posted on any progress that I hear.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I don't know what the heck I clicked on, but I annotated the screen. So sorry about that, everybody. Very good. Thank you, Miss Lisa. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right.
So
Next.
I think Lisa might hang out in case there's questions on the next item, but I know we also need Danielle, so I'm going to promote her.
Okay. This is for item 8 or top section 8, item B, the award of RFP for our special education teachers.
That's me. Okay. Hi, everybody. Chair Molina and members of the board. I'm Danielle Nee, Director of Special Education. I know you guys don't see me often, but here I am. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the RFP and why we went for RFP. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we were looking for special education teachers, and Sunbelt is a company that they send out to many different schools, many different districts, just saying we have teachers available if they're needed. We did need teachers, so we did also reach out to them and ask what they had. We found 2 teachers through them. They were fully vetted, licensure, background, those types of things were done. And we went in knowing that sometimes we could get really great teachers. Sometimes maybe we weren't going to get such great teachers. Well, they ended up being fantastic, and they fit our model and they fit our school, and they're working with our team extremely well. Now, with that being said, we can't pay over 60,000. And so we now have to go to RFP to approve that so we can pay them over $60,000. We scored, Sunbelt did put in their application. We did score based on the score. I do think we are recommending that we continue to move forward with Sunbelt because the teachers are working out really well and they are doing a great job. I think also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think it also saves us a little bit of money than if we actually hire them as full-time teachers. So that's also beneficial from a money standpoint.
Okay.
Did I miss anything? Or do you guys have questions for me?
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I don't think you missed anything. I would say that there was a committee that did review it. I think there were 5 of us. You have that linked on your agenda with the recommendation. Sunbelt was the only offer, even but it was published and posted as required. They were the only offer, but that was okay with us because we've been, as Danielle said, so happy with the folks that have been working for the schools. So you would not have to hire that, you wouldn't have to prove this if just because it's the only offer, but they are high quality, got good reviews from all of us, and have been performing well. So the staff request, the committee's recommendation is to approve this award of the RFP, and that's our request.
Very good. Then I move to approve the recommendation to award the RFP to Sunbelt. A second, please.
I feel like I keep doing this.
Very good. Dottie, you get to choose who seconded that motion. It was between you and Bill.
Well, I will defer to Bill. Thank
Bill,
you.
all right, very good. Very good. Any further discussion or questions from the board? Seems like we've got a good thing going. They responded. I see no concerns at all.
Yay,
All
we
right. If there's
appreciate
no
that.
if
Thank
there's
you.
no further discussion, Ms. Dottie, would you please conduct a roll call vote to accept the recommendation from the committee to approve the RFP for Sunbelt?
Yes, sir. Chair Patrick Molina.
Aye.
Vice Chair Gibson,
Aye.
Bill Brown,
Aye.
and Dottie McKinney. Aye.
The motion passes, Ms. Danielle. It's official.
Yay, that helps us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to join us. Good night. All right.
I'll move Danielle and Lisa back to the attendees now, I think.
Sure, absolutely.
So they can continue to listen or go do some other thing with their life.
I hope it's something fun.
Danielle, yeah. And then Lisa, thank you both.
Thank you.
Oops. Every time somebody talks, it jumps around, so it takes me a little bit. Hold on. Last time I sent the wrong person to the I sent a board member instead of a yeah, it's kind of a all right. I think I did
Be
Lisa.
careful because if you send me out, I'm gone. I'm out of here.
No, you'd come back. All right.
All right. On to item number letter C, the Safe Schools Plan submitted with assurances and going through these appendices.
So I had sent this out to all of the board members, I believe all the board members previously, but I just wanted it noted in the record that the Safe Schools Plan was submitted, but part of that has a bunch of assurances from the school that the school leaders had to sign, primarily Mr. Colander, Mr. Branch, and Ms. Vargas, assuring that they are following certain things. But some of those assurances also included references to policies, which we have, and those are linked there. And then also an assurance signed by Mr. Molina that we do indeed, that the governing board is aware. So just to be sure on the public record that the governing board is aware, I did want to include this in the agenda tonight and see if there were any questions about any of that. I know you all received it and had a chance to review. I did get a couple of questions. So, but with that, I think it would be best to have a motion to approve the at least assurance in Appendix A that Mr. Molina has shared this with the entire board, or that the board is aware.
All right. Then I move to acknowledge that the board has been advised and is aware of all of our assurances as listed on our agenda items 1C, 1 through 4, including appendices A through K. A second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Heather. It's fun to hear your voice twice when you speak. All right. Well, then, any further discussion or comment, folks? I didn't think so. Yeah, this is pretty administrative here. There's nothing spectacular going on. Well, then, Ms. Dottie, would you please conduct a roll call vote with regards to the safe school plans assurances listed on our agenda C1 through 4 and the appendices A through K?
Yes, sir. Chair Patrick Molina.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heather.
Aye.
Bill Brown.
Aye.
And Dottie McKinney. Aye.
Cruising right along. So as you all know, the audit is still embargoed. We can't say a whole lot. We do have a meeting later this week to do the exit meeting on that, unless it gets rescheduled again, but that is happening, I think, on Thursday. So hopefully all of you who are on that audit committee can attend to square that away. It's usually pretty quick. At least it has been.
Chair Molina, who received
Yeah.
that invitation? Because it needs to go to the rest of the committee, like your parent and your, do you have an invite, or was it just set? Do you know?
It was sent by Sheila. The only people I see on it are myself, Hannah, Katie, and Patrick.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought I saw
Jake,
more
I'll send
names
you
on that.
the other committee members, audit committee members that need to be added to that. Will you be able to add them, Jake, or forward it to them or something?
Yeah.
That has been the problem with the audit committees historically, is that it goes to the school business official or to the head administrator, and they add it to their calendar, but the other members of the committee don't always get invited. And it's just the way I don't know why the auditors do not send it to the whole committee. They have the list.
I
But
know.
we need to make sure it gets to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Jake.
Mhm.
Very good. All right. We heard from the finance committee earlier. Bill, is there anything you need to add? Okay, very good. And our facilities committee, we heard a little bit about the gym, but Dottie and Heather, any updates from the facilities committee?
No, sir.
No. All right. Very, very good. Well, then that wraps up section 8 of our agenda. Right on into board comments. Any comments from the board with regards to anything going on? Outstanding. My only comment is, my only comment and question is there a craft fair this year at Galton, or has that already happened?
I believe the craft fair has already happened.
That's what I thought.
They're usually back in early November is when
Is
they
it
do.
November? Okay. All right. Rats. I got to go last year, but I didn't get to go this year. Oh, very good. Well, my only comment is to once again thank all of you fellow board members for taking the time out of away from your families and out of your lives to continue to contribute to the school. It is, I feel like you're underappreciated sometimes, but you're greatly and deeply appreciated, at least by this humble fellow board member. So those are my comments. Any other comments before we boogaloo?
I meant to note that I did add on the agenda under the activities section calendar that the graduation date has been set for May 29th. A little bit early, but I just wanted you to know that that's been set. I think we're still waiting for confirmation on the venue, but it's hopefully going to be at Kiva Auditorium at the Albuquerque Convention Center. I just wanted the board to be aware of that if you want to put that on your calendars for.
Yeah, thank you. It'll be on right here shortly. Okay,
we have hit the stage where the Bonifacio, which has been a beautiful facility, and we love how they work with us. We have outgrown them. We are our last graduating class, Chair Molina, and I believe Dottie, both of you were there. When we held graduation, that place was packed, and that was with 42 seniors. We have 81 seniors. So we've doubled our graduating class size, which means that will no longer hold our student population. Kiva is pricier, obviously, but we are looking to establish that relationship with a space that is big enough to allow expansion, if you wanted to know why the venue changed.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Totally. Yeah, last year was a pretty packed house. So yeah, fellow board members, if you are able to make it to graduation, it's great. It's really neat to see the culmination of everything that we do and are doing. So it's lovely, absolutely lovely. Okay. If there are no further board comments, we'll move on to item number 10, which is public comment regarding any item not on the agenda. We still have Hannah in our attendees and Lisa. We lost Jen. So unless Hannah or Lisa have any public comments, please raise your hand. We'd happily entertain your public comments. Looks like both of them are sitting on their hands. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this meeting. It's one of the fastest ones we've had in a while. I'm not complaining. All right. Then I hereby adjourn this meeting, the last one for 2025, and to notify everybody that our next governing council meeting is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 at 5:30 in the same format. I wish each and every one of you safe, blessed, and happy holidays. And we will see you in January.